Hello, good people. Spot of Nerd here with a brand new episode for my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful supporters. And yes, even you haters, because it's just a gift that keeps on giving. So, very similar to last time. This will be, consider this more of a live episode, even though it's not a live one. It's just going to be very minimally edited so that I can continue to work on San Diego Comic-Con stuff, which, quick update, believe it or not, is halfway done. I know that might sound like, wow, only half. We're actually on to the portion of the editing process that makes it a lot quicker. Long story short, there's like 500 clips that has to be organized into each day. It's a fucking annoying ass thing to do, but it's done. So now the fun part comes in of putting it all together and presenting it to you. So it should be actually probably in the next week or two. So stay tuned. It's going to be awesome. Which, the cliche, let's just do it right before the credits. Or maybe I did the credits in the beginning. I don't know yet. If you'd be ever so kind, throw the subscribe, likes, comments, the whole 9 yards. I would appreciate it more now than ever. Obviously, little tidbit, election season is only getting, as they would say, weirder. Obviously I'm not that side, but we'll poke fun where we can poke fun. So we're gonna have a lot of talk, a lot of discussions around that later. But right now I want to talk about a new film that is, I believe, still in theaters, or it might not be because it didn't do so hot. But ultimately, like I said, we will be talking much more in the censorship game, the communistic, I don't know what you call them, mafia type executions, but not literally, in relation to basically the big tech gods that are trying to shut down folks like Crowder, Tim Pool, the whole 9 yards, Rumble specifically. So any support you can throw specifically to Rumble would be incredible right now, because yeah, things are getting weird, and not even in a poke fun kind of way, but just any support would be super appreciated, because the censor gods are only going to tighten their grip as we get closer to November. But lo and behold, that'll be done another time. What I want to talk about is the latest from M. Night Shyamalan, if I'm saying that correctly. He has made some pretty epic films. Signs was my favorite, with Mel Gibson, the aliens. To this day, one of the scariest scenes ever in a film was seeing the alien walk across the screen. It's, to this day, probably one of the scariest shit I've ever seen in my life. But that's the impact he has over the cinematic world. He makes very bizarre films, very interesting films. Another good one was the beach one. Couldn't tell you for the life of me what the hell it's called. I know it's going to bother a lot of you because, oh no, he doesn't know things. Yeah, I won't go down that road. But anyway, it's the one on the beach where people get old and then, like, they see themselves in the future. Even I still don't really remember what happens at the end, but I do know it was actually pretty good. So his new one, unfortunately, to be blunt and honest, is a wet fart. It's an absolute wet fart. You think you're safe, and you just let one out, and it unfortunately ends up to be that you just sharded your pants. So let's talk about Trap. Now, not too many well-knowns, at least that I know, in this film. So I'm really just going to focus in on the main character, who is Cooper, who is played by 90s heartthrob Josh Hartnett. And kind of like we do on this channel, I'm just going to call him Pearl Harbor. That's probably bad. Well, no, it's not bad. It was a decent movie. I'm probably just thinking way too outside the box. But we'll just call him 90s heartthrob. Just in case I forget his name. I might even call him by his real name. I don't know. So anyway, Trap is exactly as it sounds. And you might have seen the trailer. You might not. Maybe I'll throw it over this depending on how the editing goes. Like I've said, this is more of a live. Take what you get. Listen to it. Blah, blah, blah. Actually, yeah, go ahead and just listen to this on the podcast. That way I don't have to do too much editing. But anyway, I want to say probably the first 30 to 45 minutes of this film are actually really, really great. Like so the whole entire premise is there's a serial killer. Cooper, 90s heartthrob, is a serial killer. What the FBI, what the police, they're trying to do is they're trying to capture this guy. So I'm going to reveal a big spoiler in a moment. If you don't want to listen, look away, don't watch, don't listen, blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is you're probably going to wait for this to be on streaming anyway. So the way they try to capture Cooper, serial killer, 90s heartthrob, is by holding a concert. So imagine if Kanye did a concert, or whoever's famous today singer-wise did a concert, and they managed to get him to go to this. They don't really explain that part until the very, very end, but ultimately it will make sense when I spoil it for you. So he takes his daughter Riley, the character, again, look it up. I don't really know who the hell is the real actress's name, but blah, blah, blah. He takes his daughter to this concert. She obviously loves this musician. It's like a daddy-daughter date thing, like the old days, or hopefully is still a tradition where the father is still embracing their children and hoping for success and good things. But again, another story. So the beginning of this film, like I said, the beginning 30-45 minutes is really, really great because it's building this story of this guy thinks he's having his daughter. They're just having a great time bonding together. And they're in this huge, ginormous stadium. And then all of a sudden he just starts noticing police everywhere. He starts noticing SWAT. He starts noticing FBI. Like hundreds, if not thousands of police are starting to enter this building. And it kind of catches him. He's like, fuck, something ain't right here because I need to get out. And what it ultimately leads to, it's very simple. Really, it really is simple. Catch this guy. They lured him to this concert to try and catch him. They don't know what he looks like. They don't know what he sounds like. They can only go off of maybe some very sparse evidence, I guess, as they say. So how does he get out? And that first 45 minutes is him trying not to alarm or alert his daughter about who he is or what he's trying to do. But he's kind of like doing this MacGyver, James Bond-esque type work to figure out how the hell to get out of the stadium. So as you can imagine, he's stealing people's identification cards, like who work at the stadium. He's trying to go through back doors. He's trying to get up to the roof. And every time he thinks he's found a spot to get out, obviously there's a cop there, there's a sniper, there's a SWAT person, FBI person. So every time he's that cliche serial killer that always knows how to get out of a situation. Like when he gets to the roof, he's got an apron on from one of the food courts, and he kind of pretends like I just needed some fresh air, so please don't do anything. And then, the SWAT people, the cops, they don't know what he looks like, so they're just assuming he's just another employee. So it's very well done. It really, really is very well done in that sense. And then it crumbles. It lets out that fart that you thought was safe. And it ultimately ends up ruining your day. It really, really does. And it shifts. So it's only an hour and a half, which is exactly what it needs to be. It could have been shorter. But where it shifts is M. Night Shyamalan always is an actor in his films. Like he always has like this role. So it turns out M. Night Shyamalan is a family member of the famous musician that they're there for the concert. He tells Cooper, 90s heartthrob, tell some bogus story about the daughter, Riley, getting sick, and it would be, you know, thank you for the concert, yada yada, kind of to manipulate him to basically say, hey, I guess this musician, every concert picks somebody out from the crowd and like has a dance thing, blah, 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 blah. And that's where it goes completely 180 on itself and falls flat. It really, really is a tragedy in my view, because it was actually something pretty cool in my, what at least I thought in that first 45 minutes. And the reason for it is because it only gets worse from there in relation to, this is where the major spoilers are going to come in. So if you don't want to hear, if you don't want to look, without watching the movie first, go and do that and then come back. But I'm fair warning you again, this is the second time, this is where I'm going to start to spoil this film. So, the way, after this dance, there's agents for the musician that are, they're talking to Dad, 90s heartthrob, and they're saying, like, yeah, don't worry, you can just go out the back door with Lady Raven, I think, we'll just call her Raven. The musician, in the movie, I think it's Raven. Quote me if I'm wrong, just tell me. I know the haters will. So, apparently, because, they know who she is, the musician is, they don't need to check her ID or who she is, so they just let her out the back door. And that's, like I said, and I'm broken record, it's where it falls to pieces, because that's Cooper's, 90s Heartthrob's, only chance of getting out of this huge stadium. He obviously knows there's no other option, so when they go backstage, 90s Heartthrob and his daughter, to go meet Raven, basically he says, hey Raven, can I talk to you privately? And he admits everything. And it's just like, dude, really? You're a fucking serial killer, and you just gave up? Like, you have a giant stadium. You have 30,000 people in this stadium, and you just fucking just throw in the towel. Just like that. And magically you throw in the towel to the musician that supposedly nobody in the world gets to talk to except you. So, he basically confesses to Raven, the musician, and she just, like, nothing. Like, I'm sorry, but if a serial killer is staring you in the face, not 2 feet away from you, in a room by yourselves, pretty sure you're not gonna just go, okay. Like, come on. Even I, like, somebody who conceal carries legally, by the way, you're gonna have a little bit of a reaction. Maybe you might be frozen, you might do the deer in the headlights, but you're gonna do something. I don't know, maybe, touch wood, I've never been in that scenario. I hope to never be in that scenario. I just assumed you would try something. Scream. Run. Blah. Because, like, he doesn't have a weapon. He doesn't have any... Like, sure, yes, he might be bigger and stronger, but you're in a really big room right now. You could have bolted to the door. Blah, 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 blah. Now, here's the little tip for some of you that have seen this film. Some of you might be going, but what about the dude in his basement? Okay, I should have probably told you that. Beginning of the film, Cooper, 90s Heartthrob, has this cell phone, and he's got a video camera of one of basically his next victim. And apparently he could just push a button, and, like, toxic gas would kill this next victim. It's a very minimal piece of the story, but it does kind of matter in this sense, because there are those of you out there that are probably going, well, what about if it's safe? Remember the old the infamous phrase today in the politic agendas, if it only saves one life. Sure, like specifically in the gun control debate, except when it comes to the abortion debate. That's where gonna have to throw a little bit of a wrench in that discussion. Just a heads up, if it saves one life, gotcha. But then let's talk about that. Yeah, okay. Don't need to go down that road. But ultimately, I personally believe all lives matter. Just throwing it out there. So, putting him aside, putting the guy that's the next victim on the camera aside, you're gonna do something. If a serial killer is admitting to your face, I'm a serial killer, I'm trapped, you're gonna help me get out of here, you're gonna do something, regardless. And it's like the dominoes tumbling after this part. So she, apparently Raven, the musician, apparently now is also some sort of CSI agent person, FBI agent, and she's had the training with the FBI because she buys into it and basically leads him on to try and capture him. And the way she does it is, hey, can we go to your house? So obviously she's focusing in on Riley, the daughter. And, you know, she's kind of like, hey, can we go to your house? Can you show me your stuff? Because she is basically, Raven, the musician, is trying to somehow alert somebody that, hey, this is the guy that we're trying to find. Somebody help. So she doesn't, obviously he took her phone. She has no way to call or text anybody. But, you know, somehow, some way, she just learned all these techniques on how to stop a serial killer. It's a little, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not saying you can't be that person who knows how to take down a serial killer, but it's a little far-fetched. Let's be honest. It's like, imagine if Ben Affleck suddenly turned into MacGyver or James Bond. It just doesn't make sense. These people are loaded. They don't care about any of the normal people out there. They only care about their own life. I'm just saying that from what I see in the celebrity world. Maybe I'm wrong, and if I am, my apologies. So, blah, blah, blah. So they get to the house where 90s heartthrob lives with family. Obviously, everybody's like, oh my god, it's Lady Raven, the musician. Can you want to sit down? You want food? Blah, blah, blah. And in the meantime, she's trying to figure out, like, okay, what am I going to do? And she starts, like, so Lady Raven, like, snatches 90s heartthrob's phone where he has the dude that he could kill. And he's, you know, taking pictures with Riley to kind of say, like, no, let's use your phone and blah, blah, blah. And then she bolts it to the bathroom. Almost like what I said before, where you could just, like, bolt out somewhere. And she's in the bathroom. He's banging on the door. Family's wondering what the hell's going on. Everybody starts losing their shit. And he, you know, 90s heartthrob's banging on the bathroom door. Lady Raven's in the bathroom. And somehow manages to connect. Like, you would think, again, you're a serial killer. She manages to use his phone, serial killer 90s heartthrob Cooper's phone. Like, first off, how? Because, number one, you don't have his passcode. Two, you would think a serial killer would shut down the internet in his house when something like this happened. As in, like, if he has all the sophistication, if he has all these, like, escape routes, which obviously the house is laced with underground tunnels so he can get out, and he has all these ideas to break out. There's little tidbits I'll get into, maybe I won't. But ultimately, what it does come down to is she manages to get online, like Instagram, and live chats and says, hey, can somebody help me find what the next victim is telling her? Because apparently she was able to find a way to talk to him. Talk to the guy that's basically, you know, could die of this poisonous gas. Like, she's talking to him through the phone. The fuck? And apparently the guy knew exactly, like, what was, like, hey, I remember seeing this statue, and I remember this light, and I remember this street. And so musician lady is on the phone live on Instagram asking the world, hey, can somebody tell me where this is? Oh, magically within a few comments somebody says, yeah, that's like 4th and 5th Street. It's just fucking terrible. Like, that is, it's a level of pathetic, I guess is the word that comes to mind, in terms of writing this film. Laziness, it's just embarrassing is what it is. It's just tragically poor in terms of the writing style. And sort of like, I think where I'm getting at is, like, M. Night Shyamalan, I expect better. I really, really do. And, like, I know it's been a while since he brought out a film, but I expect better. I really, really do. So, ultimately, cut a very long story short, what eventually ends up happening is you find out, big spoiler, it was the wife who actually had the initial thought that my husband might in fact be the butcher, aka 90s heartthrob, aka serial killer. She was the one that sent the, I guess, like a phone call or a tip to the police, and she partnered with the police and the FBI to get him to go to the concert so that they could hope to catch him. Man, you would think if she knew all that, she might provide them a picture. Whoa, I'm not even a cop. Crazy. It's like, it's almost in today's world of technology, you could have just sent a text, I don't know, either to a cop or to a friend who then could maybe then text the picture to a cop. Whoa, crazy concept. I know. And that's where it's so lazy in the writing. And a broken record with that. But it's just like, damn, this movie was something I actually was going to say, yeah, go and see it. And then after that middle section, I'm just, no, don't you dare waste your money on this film. So, Cliff Notes, it ultimately leads into he escapes, and he escapes like 3 times, maybe 3 to 5 times. Magically escapes. Like he pulls the spokes off of a bicycle when he falls down, and then he unlocks his handcuffs. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. And then it just rolls the credits. So, 90s heartthrob, he got arrested, he's in handcuffs, he's in the back of a police vehicle, and he unlocks the chains again, and he's like, ha ha ha, look at me, I'm fucking free. You're still in a cop car, dude. You're still in a cop car, supposedly that's locked. Supposedly. And the credits roll. And that's it. That's it. That's literally the end of the film. Fucking garbage. Garbage. So, yeah. I wouldn't even give this a cup of tea from yours truly, Spot of Nerd. I wouldn't even give it 1. I would give it 0. Even, sometimes I give a little bit of a leeway to some films where I might say, okay, I'll give it 1 cup of tea out of 4. Nah. After that second half, you don't even deserve 1. So, take it with a grain of salt. If you think this is something you might enjoy watching, sure, go and check it out. You might genuinely have a different take than I did. And I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Trust me, I really would. I'd love to know what you thought. But ultimately, this movie is trash. Absolute trash. All because of just simply pathetic, lazy, terrible. I thought I might be able to come up with something smart. Terrible writing. So that's that. Yeah. But anyway, thank you guys so much. If you got this far, I super duper appreciate it. If you didn't, it's okay too. I would still love you. Throw me all the support you can. And yeah, stay tuned for more, folks. I promise you the real episodes are soon to be coming back. But more importantly, San Diego Comic-Con is coming from yours truly, Spot of Nerd. San Diego Comic-Con 2024. The full episodes are soon to be in your world. I promise, from the bottom of my heart. Cross my heart, hope to die, stinker leading on my eye. Until next time, folks, we will see you guys next time. Later, y'all. Yeah, no. This movie doesn't even deserve a credit scene. So no. Just wasted your time after you watched that 3-second end credit scene. Just wasted your time.